A looming threat to privacy. The IRS and ICE's proposed data sharing agreement. The American landscape is etched with the complexities of immigration, a subject perpetually embroiled in political debate and societal anxieties. Recently, a shadow has been cast over this already sensitive arena, raising profound concerns about privacy, governmental overreach, and the potential for abuse of power. Reports from the Washington Post have unveiled a proposed data sharing agreement between the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. A deal that threatens to fundamentally alter the delicate balance between national security and individual liberties. This proposed agreement would allow ICE to provide the names and addresses of undocumented immigrants to the IRS. The IRS, in turn, would cross-reference this information with its confidential taxpayer databases. This seemingly innocuous act carries with it the weight of a constitutional crisis, potentially jeopardizing the privacy of millions and setting a dangerous precedent for future administrations. The gravity of this situation cannot be overstated. For decades, the IRS has operated under a strong presumption of confidentiality regarding taxpayer information. This trust, meticulously cultivated over years, is now threatened by this proposed agreement. The sanctity of tax information, long considered sacrosanct, is poised to be violated, potentially exposing vulnerable individuals to unwarranted scrutiny and harassment. The IRS website explicitly states that undocumented immigrants are subject to U.S. tax laws, regardless of their immigration status. Many undocumented immigrants, lacking social security numbers, utilize individual taxpayer identification numbers, ITINs, to fulfill their tax obligations. They are subject to the same reporting and withholding requirements as U.S. citizens with comparable incomes. In fact, more than half of the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the U.S. diligently file income tax returns, demonstrating their commitment to contributing to the nation's economy. The proposed data sharing agreement, however, creates a chilling effect. It transforms a system designed to ensure financial accountability into a tool for immigration enforcement. This is a gross distortion of the IRS's intended purpose and a betrayal of the trust placed in the agency by taxpayers, regardless of their immigration status. While the IRS's website acknowledges exceptions to confidentiality under court orders for the investigation and prosecution of non-tax criminal laws, Section 6103, sources familiar with the matter have indicated that weaponizing this exception for immigration enforcement is outside standard procedure and exceedingly rare. This proposed agreement represents a radical departure from established norms and raises serious questions about the Trump administration's commitment to due process and the protection of individual rights. This proposed agreement emerges against the backdrop of President Trump's campaign promises to deport millions of undocumented immigrants. His administration has actively worked to restrict legal pathways for immigration and has implemented policies that have resulted in widespread fear and uncertainty among immigrant communities. The revocation of temporary legal status for hundreds of thousands of Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, along with increased ICE raids in major U.S. cities, demonstrate a clear pattern of aggressive immigration enforcement. The implications of this proposed data sharing agreement extend far beyond the immediate impact on undocumented immigrants. It sets a dangerous precedent, potentially allowing future administrations to leverage taxpayer data for purposes far removed from its original intent. This could pave the way for the erosion of privacy rights across a broad spectrum of individuals, creating a chilling effect on free speech and political participation. The potential for abuse is immense. Imagine the fear and uncertainty that would grip immigrant communities, knowing that their tax information could be used against them. This fear could prevent individuals from seeking vital social services, reporting crimes, or even exercising their right to vote. The chilling effect on civic engagement would be profound and damaging to the fabric of our democracy. Furthermore, the potential for discriminatory targeting is undeniable. The agreement could disproportionately affect certain communities, exacerbating existing inequalities and creating further marginalization. The lack of transparency and public debate surrounding this agreement is deeply troubling. Such a significant decision, with far-reaching consequences for millions of individuals, deserves open and thorough discussion, debate, and scrutiny from the public and from Congress. This proposed data sharing agreement represents a grave threat to privacy, due process, and the rule of law. It demands immediate and thorough investigation, not only to assess its legality, but also to evaluate its ethical implications. The potential for abuse is overwhelming, and the consequences for our democracy could be irreparable. The American public deserves a full and transparent accounting of this alarming development and the opportunity to voice its concerns before this agreement is finalized. The fight for privacy and the preservation of our democratic principles must not be waged in silence. We must demand accountability and transparency from our government and protect the rights of all individuals within our borders. The potential consequences of this proposed agreement are far too significant to ignore. Silence is complicity, action is imperative,